Hello, my name is Marcos Ruiz, and I will be talking about resemblances between our Earth and Bradbury's There Will Come Soft Rains. The Earth, a solitary oasis in the vast and infinite darkness of space. The only location in our solar system able to harbor life by providing what is required for life to flourish. But could one day our Earth become a lifeless world due to natural disaster or perhaps as a result of our own wrongdoing? Can the oasis be overrun by some crises humans have created? If we continue consuming resources at our current rate, we will leave the Earth vulnerable to forthcoming crises. Over 60 years ago, Ray Bradbury wrote the story of There Will Come Soft Rains. The story spoke of the lone house after a nuclear attack. Just like the Earth, the home was the lone beacon of life left standing, going through the daily routine of providing a suitable and welcoming setting for life to flourish. But what happens when providing for life becomes wasteful and leads to future necessity? Bradbury's story, even though it was written many years ago, conveys current ecological issues, particularly the uncontrollable urge to use more resources without the consideration of saving for future generations requirement. With various examples and one dramatic fire that spells the end of the home, there will come soft rains forecast the Earth's fate if we do not figure out how to resolve the escalating issues in our ecological health. Let's begin with our most precious and limited resource, water. In Bradbury's story, the garden sprinklers whirled up in golden founts, filling the soft morning air with scatterings of brightness. Sounds familiar, but would anyone disagree that having a clean glass of water is less vital than having a green lawn? Yet, every day we see perfectly clean water used in ways that would appear outrageous in drier places of our world. Just like the home in the story, we also use water as if it were an unending source. According to the world counts, our planet consists of 70% water, but only 2.5% is fresh water. Just 1% is easily accessible, while the rest is frozen in glaciers, making the true amount of water available to feed and fuel the Earth's inhabitants only about 0.007%. Not a great deal once you start thinking that an ever-growing population will obviously bring more demand for this precious resource. To make matters worse, half of the world's fresh water is unusable due to pollution. According to the UN, 47% of the human population will live in locations of water stress by 2030. These are places where demands for water exceeds the quantity available for part of the year. Also, the poor will receive the biggest blow, as there is a strong connection between poverty and a lack of clean water. Moreover, 80% of diseases in developing countries are associated with lack of clean water. But like all things on this planet, what happens on one part of the world will eventually affect the rest of the planet and its inhabitants. Illness and water shortages are all possibilities that could affect our future. Another example of our wasteful nature is our food waste. The home begins the day by cooking breakfast for a family that does not exist. Then we read what happens to the meal after some time has passed. At 8:30, the eggs were shriveled and the toast was like stone. An aluminum wedge scraped them into the sink, where hot water whirled them down a metal throat and digested and flushed them away to the distant sea. Food waste does not only affect what is thrown out, but it also impacts the environment. According to St. Gupta, globally 1.3 billion tons of food a year is thrown out, which is a third of the food we grow. At the same time, we create 3.3 billion tons of carbon dioxide equivalent from the emissions needed to produce the uneaten food. Additionally, after food is thrown out, it does not magically disappear because most of it ends up in landfills. According to the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, 20% of what goes into municipal landfills is food. Food waste tipped the scales at 35 million tons in 2012, the most recent year for which estimates are available. Land use for landfills and the food discarded in it could have easily been used for greater benefits to humans. Even if it's 1/4 of the food currently lost or wasted globally could be saved, it would be enough to feed 870 million hungry people in the world, according to the United Nations. We must become aware of the financial and environmental toll food has when it is produced. There will come soft rains in a tragic and surprising manner. The fire that consumes a house is personified as being clever, knowingly rising to the attic and shattering any prospect of the house extinguishing the fire. Humans can easily be thought as the fire that consumes the earth. We are rapidly growing in population, placing more and more burden on our planet. According to the United Nations, the current population on the planet is about 7.2 billion and is expected to reach 11.2 billion people by the year 2100. The fire in the story goes from room to room and works its way up the stairs. Now the fire lays in beds, stood in the windows, changed the colors of drapes. We as humans have changed our landscapes to benefit our needs without looking at the total effects of our manipulation on nature. As we grow and consume, we have inhabited seas, mountains, and even to space, all the while leaving our trace, our very own version of scorch marks on our environment. This draws me back to the part in the story where the dog walks into the house and eventually dies of hunger in front of the kitchen door. The once fleshy dog had been reduced to bone after the attack. In my thinking, this dog symbolizes nature and all animals that live on Earth. Sarah Teasdale's poem claims nature would flourish once humans are gone, but will it? Have we changed our Earth enough to affect other species? According to Goldberg, no creature has altered life on the planet so much, claiming our actions could bring along the sixth major extinction. Humans have affected the climate of the planet at such a rapid rate that many animals will not be able to adapt. According to Mosenberg, the current extinction rate is at least 100 times higher than normal. Our toll on wildlife has surely affected many species from recovering even after humans are no longer present. We have placed dams on rivers preventing fish from reaching their breeding pools. We have also overfished our seas and lakes, taken more land from wildlife to construct homes and expand cities and towns, and plowed over rainforests to make farmland, leading to less trees to clean our atmosphere. According to NASA, the average surface temperature has increased about 1.62 degrees Fahrenheit due to man-made and increased carbon dioxide emissions. So have we shut the door on other species, leaving them no way of sustaining their survival? As it was written in the story, in the nursery the jungle burned, blue lions roared, purple giraffes bounded off, the panthers ran in circles, changing colors, and 10 million animals, running before the fire, vanished off toward a distant streaming river. 10 more voices died. The current and future extinction of many species are results from our unmanaged abuse on the planet. What does the future hold for our planet and all the inhabitants? Will it burn down just like the home in the story? As the human population continues to grow, we will be faced with greater obstacles to maintain resources. How will our cities look, and can technological advancements help us ease our dependence on water? Will we take steps to reduce our carbon footprint? Or will we just continue to use our resources until we are out? Then we will realize that our home has lost all capabilities to defend itself against the raging fire that humans represent to the planet. Left burning, the fire will consume our home from top to bottom until finally it crashes down, taking everything we know along with it.